Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Make sure to leave a like on this video down below and subscribe. My name is Alvin. I lean right on most issues, and I'll be representing the Republican side.
Hey, my name is Luke. I lean left on most issues, and I'll be representing the Democratic side. Now, in this video here, we'll be doing a November 18th election update. It's been a while since the election. Was it 10 days? There's still a few races undecided, but essentially we're going to be going over what occurred on election day and what's left. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since we last posted. We've been really busy with school, but again, we really want to update you guys since two big things have happened since the last time we posted on this channel, and that's that the Senate has been decided and the House has been decided. So we want to make sure that you guys get this news. Let's start with the House, where Republicans are projected to get at least 219 seats, which is a 2-seat majority, and they're poised to get up to a 222 seat majority, which is a 5-seat majority, I believe. So let's break it down. Since our last video, a few races, all the races, in fact, in the LA area are now called for mainly for the Republicans, although Katie Porter's CA 47th district has been called for the Democrat. We've seen Adam Frisch, the Democrat running against Lauren Boebert in Colorado's 3rd district, concede his election. And 3 races are left to be decided, all of which favor the Democrats.
Oh, the Republicans, you mean?
The Republicans, yes.
Yes.
The Republicans.
Yeah, so there's CA 3, 13, and 22. Over the last few days, it's kind of become more clear that the Republicans, they hold the lead in all these races, and they seem very likely to continue to hold that lead and win. In CA3, it's still pretty solid lead here for Kevin Kiley. I do not really see how Kermit Jones can overcome this in a district that Trump won. There's that. Do you want to talk about CA13 and then I'll do 22?
Yeah, and also with CA3, most of the votes left to come in are from Placer County, so which favors Kiley. I think the rest are almost fully in.
Yeah.
And then we've got 13. I guess I'll talk about this one. This one is sort of interesting. It seems as if election analysts think John Duarte, the Republican, is probably favored, which is why we put it lean Republican. But if I didn't have pundits to look at, I would think this one's quite even, probably even a toss-up. But either way, Duarte looks to be poised to win this one, according to most.
Mm-hmm. And then for the last one, we have the incumbent David Valadao, who consistently has won in this deep blue district. I believe this district voted for Biden in 2020 by over 10. This race is slightly closer. I think it's going to definitely get closer because that southern county, Kern County, is the bluest in the district, and it still has a lot to count. But it seems generally, according to the pundits like Dave Wasserman, and these trusted individuals who analyze House races, that David Valadao is going to keep his lead. The votes left in Kern County don't seem to be enough to overcome Valadao's lead. Looks like it's going to be 222 Republicans. Yeah.
Yeah, there also is one more house market that we should look at. Predicted had to stop making markets because of their no action letter, but there's one market that they made before the no action letter, and it's very interesting because it's GOP Trump electors being reelected, and Valadao is the final one that has left to be decided. Which is why this is essentially a Valadao re-election market at this point, with 2 being he gets reelected and 1 being he doesn't. And so this basically says, Valadao is winning. So that one I'm very confident on. And the third, I'm much more confident on. 13th, I wouldn't be the most confident on, but people do seem like signaling that he's going to win. So 222, 213 seems likely, although I guess it's possible to.
It is possible for it to shift maybe 1. Yeah.
221 is potentially a possibility in our opinion. All right, let's head over to the Senate, where Democrats have clinched control of the Senate, unless some crazy thing happens in the presidency, not allowing Kamala Harris to break ties anymore, they would have a minimum of 50 seats. We have 48 Republican seats plus one in Alaska, where Kelly Shibaka and the incumbent Lisa Murkowski, one of them is going to win, and looks like it will be Murkowski, although technically it's still possible for Shibaka to win. And then we have one runoff in Georgia, right, Lou?
Yeah, so in Georgia, neither candidate got 50% of the vote. The incumbent Democrat Raphael Warnock and the Republican running against him, Herschel Walker, will be facing off December 6th, I believe.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, that race doesn't really matter as much now because Democrats already control a chamber. Since our last video, I believe Mark Kelly in Arizona and Catherine Cortez Masto in Nevada have been both been called as winners. So Democrats are already at 50. If they win in Georgia, which I personally think is likely, then they'll be at 51.
Yeah, I think it would be quite a surprise for Walker to somehow win in Georgia. So we will be doing videos on specifically Georgia, though, as it gets closer to December 6th. So keep your eye out for that, because that will be important in deciding if Kamala Harris can get out of Washington, and potentially if if they can override Joe Manchin nose. So that would be very interesting. And yeah, so Democrats win. We see this sort of interesting movement from 2020. We see a lot of back and forth, which is not exactly as common as you would think. The red wave hit some parts of the nation for sure. And the blue wave hit other parts.
This is interesting.
So
because
yeah.
Can I just say, like, this is very, very, very interesting here, because like it seems like in the states that shifted left, it shifted like pretty hard to the left, and the states that shifted right, they shifted pretty hard to the right. The only like mixed state looking here is like Georgia. Like the rest look like they're all, correct, pretty much going one direction. Oh, and Nevada, I guess, as well. But yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, just to show off the House one, if you just take a look at it, if these are all the districts where
that are finished, right?
That are basically finished, not fully finished, but basically finished. And if you just took a look at it, you would think a red wave hit the country. But the problem for the Republicans was that the red wave hit the safe states in either direction, but didn't really materialize for them in many competitive seats. So Democrats were able to hold on, and seats moved to the left in crucial battleground seats like this one where Marcy Kaptur moved it 16 points to the left, for example. So yeah, these are really interesting that I would also look at. These shift maps are really crazy. Yeah, for like Washington's third as well, stuff like that. All right, I guess we'll move on to the governor's races.
Yeah, and the governor's races, I mean, I believe, what was it, 3 races that have been called since our last video? I'm not sure if Oregon was called, but we were pretty certain at the time that Tina Kotek would win, and Tina Kotek won in Oregon. That was supposed to be a closer race. She did pretty decent. I think she was winning by like 3 or 4 now. In Nevada, that got called for the Republican Joe Lombardo, which is a flip for the GOP. They actually flipped the Nevada governorship, which I found very interesting. And finally, in Arizona, Kari Lake, the Republican who's widely expected to win, actually lost to the Democratic Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs. Which that was one of the races I really wanted to go the Democrats' way, and it did. I'm very happy about that. But yeah, do you have anything to add, Alvin?
Yeah, and I just want to talk about Alaska, which is extremely interesting. Yes, Arizona did go for Katie Hobbs almost certainly. But if we go over here to the state of Alaska, we move down to the governor's race. This one technically hasn't been called. Okay, technically. But Dunleavy's over here at 51%. He might win this race without ranked choice voting, which would be probably the only race in Alaska to go without ranked choice voting, unless Peltola somehow hits 50%. But this race looks like he's going to be poised to win no matter what, because there's one more Republican, Charlie Pierce, down here. Even if Dunleavy somehow falls under 50% with the final 6% reporting, Pierce votes are going to go overwhelmingly for Dunleavy, and he's just going to hold on. This one is safe Republican at this point. And 27 to 23 is going to be the final count. We're going to see the Republicans taking the majority of governorships.
Oh, you
again.
made a mistake there, Alvin. Kansas is in fact blue. Laura Kelly did win, so it's 24 to 26.
Yeah, there we go. Still 26. Oh, okay. Yeah.
24 to 26. Yeah.
All right. And there's just final few things we should probably talk about. There's one final race that's undecided. So we have the 3 congressional races, and then one final race, the Attorney General's race of Arizona, where Abe Hamadeh, the Republican, is trailing by 0.02%. He's trailing by under 400 votes at this point, which is extremely close, actually by 304 votes right now. And the remaining vote, do you know how it's going to go?
Honestly, I don't really know. I mean, Arizona's been counting different types of ballots different times. I reckon the last few are like military ballots and some like really late mail-in ballots that they or like I'm not sure if Arizona allows curing ballots, because I'm not sure a Republican state government would allow that. But
I believe so.
If they do, I feel that would favor Democrats, right? Curing ballots, like if you made it, but I'm not sure. I don't know. This is true toss up. This is very close. I guess we'll see how this shakes out. But yeah, this gap is very small, and I believe there is. Yeah, I mean, like I would like to. I believe there is one more uncalled race that I know of statewide. The Secretary of State race in Wisconsin, but I mean, I just want to say, like that one looks like it's going to go to the Democrat. I mean, yeah, you can go to that if you like, but I mean, yeah, and something I wanted to note here also, like looking at this specific race, is in every Secretary of State race in the nation, like in a swing state, it's gone to the Democrat, which I find really interesting. This is the last one remaining, essentially. It looks to me that the Democrat's going to win because he has a decent lead and there's like nothing left to count. Yeah, I find that really. I think the election denial messaging really hurt Republicans, especially on the Secretary of State level. Yeah.
Something I want to say is, if we said the governor's races are sort of like a baseline, right, for the state, we'd see Secretary of State races, Democrats overperforming consistently, and I'm pretty sure Attorney Generals, Republicans outperform consistently as well. So
yeah, like that's interesting
something
too.
You want to notice. Maybe independent voters split their tickets, right? They are more in favor of tougher on crime Republican attorney generals, but then they favor more democratic in both ways, ironically, like pro democracy Secretary of State holders. So that's a really interesting thing.
Also, so and another point, I'm glad you brought this up. This is like a very big ticket splitting election. I mean, we've seen so much ticket splitting, like everywhere from New Hampshire to the Ohio Senate race. Like I believe DeWine won by like 30 and Vance won by like 6. So that's a massive split. In Wisconsin, the Republican won the Senate, the Democrat won the governorship. Kansas. I mean, there's tickets in Nevada, everywhere in the nation, there was a bunch of ticket splitting, which I mean, I don't know, like that. There's definitely people are being more educated in politics. That's what that shows me. If people are able to split their ticket and not vote down the party line, I mean that's nice. It's nice to see.
I think that's a big plus for the country, actually, if people are starting to figure out how to ticket split, because we've heard a lot of conversation about how it's just so polarized and, it's always going to go one way or the other. And I think that's pretty false now after 2022. Like, yes, we're polarized, but independents are not, right? They know how to split their ticket. They're getting educated they're researching their races, and, they're not just voting Dem or Republican. And I think that's a net positive for our country. I think that means people are actually keeping their own interests in mind for every single race, and no matter what party affiliation you are, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's good that people know what's going on. Yeah, that's definitely a plus for our country. Okay.
All right. So thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you leave a like on this video if you like our election analysis. Comment down below to help us with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe because you want to get updated on the Georgia runoff that's going to decide the size of the Democratic majority in the Senate and our upcoming House race analysis when all the races are finally called. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, and guys, please make sure to share with your friends, to get us more well known, spotted.
Oh yeah, we want to provide the best coverage for 2024 and beyond. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
See ya.